Somebody under the sound of my voice today, you need to understand, success does not happen by accident. Glory to God. Success is not some mystery reserved for the chosen few. It is the result of discipline, decisions, and daily habits. When you open your eyes in the morning, the very first thing you should feel is gratitude. Gratitude is not just saying thank you out of habit. It is a posture of the heart, a recognition that life itself is a gift, the simple fact that you woke up, that breath is still in your lungs, that you have another chance to live, to try to grow. This is something many people take for granted. But successful people understand that when you wake up with gratitude, you create an atmosphere of abundance in your mind and spirit. Gratitude changes how you see the world. Instead of starting your day focusing on what is missing, gratitude teaches you to focus on what is possible. When you begin your morning with thankfulness, you shift your perspective. You stop looking at life as something that is happening to you, and you start seeing life as something that is happening for you. Every challenge becomes an opportunity. Every problem becomes a lesson, and every delay becomes divine redirection. That is why so many successful people begin their mornings with a simple moment of prayer, reflection, or affirmation. They understand that success is not just about strategy, it's about alignment. Aligning your heart, your mind, and your spirit with a greater purpose before the noise of the world takes over. When you pray or meditate in the morning, you are telling yourself, before I let the world pull me in 100 directions, I will first center myself. I will remind myself who I am, whose I am, and why I'm here. That moment of connection gives you strength that coffee cannot provide, clarity that no planner can give you, and peace that no amount of success can replace. Because true success is not just about achieving more, it is about becoming more. And you cannot become more if you wake up already consumed by worry, comparison, and distraction. Gratitude opens the door to hope. Prayer strengthens your faith. Reflection reminds you that you are capable of more than you think. Think about how different your day feels when you wake up stressed and anxious versus when you wake up grateful and intentional. A worried heart makes impulsive choices. A grateful heart makes wise decisions. Gratitude is a seed. It multiplies everything it touches. When you wake up and thank God for your life, your health, your family, your opportunities, you start to notice more things to be thankful for throughout the day. Gratitude trains your brain to look for the good, and as you look for the good, you start to create more good. That's why people who practice gratitude are often more resilient, more positive, and more successful. Because their mindset is already working for them, not against them. So instead of waking up and immediately grabbing your phone to see what happened while you slept, take a moment to be still. Breathe deeply. Whisper a prayer. Speak life over yourself. Say, thank you for another day. Thank you for new opportunities. Thank you for giving me strength for what lies ahead. It doesn't have to be long or complicated. What matters is that you start your day on purpose, not by accident. When you choose gratitude, you choose power. You are telling life, no matter what today brings, I am ready. I am strong. I am thankful. And when you carry that kind of spirit into the rest of your day, everything else begins to align with that energy. Successful people know this. They win the morning in their heart before they win it in the world. Your mind is the battlefield where every victory and every defeat begins. The quality of your thoughts will always determine the quality of your life. That is why successful people are intentional about what they feed their minds, especially in the morning. The first thing you allow into your thoughts will shape the direction of your entire day. If you wake up and the first thing you see is chaos, negativity, or distraction, you are already allowing the world to decide how you will think and feel. But if you choose to invest those first moments of the day in feeding your mind with wisdom, knowledge, and positivity, you are planting seeds of growth that will multiply throughout the day. When you read a powerful book, listen to an educational podcast, or study something that expands your understanding, you are equipping yourself for success. Knowledge is not just information. Its power gives you the ability to make better decisions, to solve problems creatively, to speak with confidence, and to see opportunities that others overlook. Too many people want success, but they are starving their minds. They wake up and fill their thoughts with gossip, social media drama, or meaningless distractions. What you consume will consume you. If you feed your mind with junk, you will live a junk-filled life. But if you feed your mind with wisdom, you will live with clarity and purpose. Successful people understand that learning is not just something you do in school. It is a lifelong discipline. Every morning, they are intentional about growing mentally before they go out into the world. They may spend 10 minutes reading a book that challenges their thinking, 5 minutes listening to affirmations that build their confidence, or a few minutes writing down ideas that sharpen their vision. These small habits compound over time. Just as your body grows stronger with exercise, your mind grows sharper with consistent learning. You can't expect to lead others if you can't first lead your own thoughts. Think about how much time people waste scrolling through their phones in the morning. Minutes turn into hours, and before they know it, they have already given their energy away to things that don't matter. Instead of starting the day with intention, They react to notifications, messages, and noise. But success requires discipline. It means saying, before I let the world speak to me, I will decide what speaks into my mind. That decision changes everything. A single inspiring paragraph, a single powerful idea can spark a chain reaction of growth that transforms your entire day. When you feed your mind before the world feeds you, you take back control. You remind yourself that your future is not shaped by outside opinions, but by the strength of your inner world. You become more focused, more confident, and more prepared to face challenges. You stop living as a victim of circumstance and start living as a creator of opportunity. You gain the ability to see beyond the temporary struggles of today because your mind is anchored in long-term vision. Every great leader, innovator, or achiever you admire invests in their mind daily. They know that ideas are currency. They know that the world is constantly changing, and if they stop learning, they will stop growing. They also understand that the morning is sacred. It is the time when your mind is fresh, your energy is high, and your spirit is open. If you waste that time on meaningless distractions, you weaken your ability to achieve your goals. But if you protect that time and use it to sharpen your mind, you create an advantage that compounds every single day. So take control of what you allow in your thoughts when you wake up. Choose books, podcasts, or practices that expand your thinking and remind you of your purpose. Replace comparison with curiosity. Replace fear with faith. Replace mindless consumption with intentional growth. As you build this habit, you will begin to see changes in how you think, how you speak, and how you act. And those changes will produce results that others can see but cannot explain. That is the power of feeding your mind before the world has a chance to feed you. Your body is the vessel through which every dream, every vision, and every goal will be accomplished. You can have the greatest ideas, the biggest plans, and the most powerful intentions, but if your body does not have the energy and strength to carry them out, you will never see them fulfilled. That is why successful people make it a priority to move their bodies every morning. They understand that motion creates emotion, that physical activity fuels mental clarity, and that discipline in one area of life spills over into every other area. When you exercise in the morning, even for a few minutes, you are not just strengthening muscles, you are building focus, discipline, and resilience. Movement wakes up every part of you. It increases blood flow to the brain, which sharpens your thinking. It boosts endorphins, which elevate your mood. It gives you a sense of accomplishment before the day even begins. Huge. You may not have control over everything that happens to you during the day, but when you take control of your body in the morning, you are already claiming a victory. That early win sets the tone for every decision you make afterward. When you tell your body, get up, move, push through, you are also training your mind to push through challenges in other areas of life. Too many people underestimate how deeply physical health impacts success. If you constantly feel tired, sluggish, or unfocused, it will affect how you work, how you interact, and how you show up in the world. Successful people protect their energy because they know their energy is their greatest asset. It is not about looking a certain way. It is about being able to perform at your best. Even the simplest movements, stretching, walking, or doing a short workout, send a powerful message to your mind. I am in control of my body. I am preparing myself for the day ahead. That discipline builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. Momentum builds success. Think about the days when you wake up feeling groggy and unmotivated. If you stay still, you often feel worse. But if you choose to move even when you don't feel like it, you suddenly feel alive. That is because action creates energy, not the other way around. So waiting to feel ready is a trap. Successful people do not wait for motivation. They create it by taking action first. Every time you move your body, you prove to yourself that you are capable more than you thought. That belief carries over into your work, your relationships, and your goals. Morning movement is also a form of self-respect. Huge. When you take care of your health, you are telling yourself that you matter, that your purpose matters, and that your future matters. You cannot pour into others if you are empty. You cannot run after your dreams if you are constantly exhausted. By prioritizing your physical well-being, you are building the foundation for long-term success. Huge. Many people neglect their health while chasing success, only to realize later that true success cannot be sustained without energy and vitality. Huge. But successful people know that caring for their body is part of caring for their destiny. It does not have to be complicated. You do not need an expensive gym membership or hours of training. What matters is consistency. 10 minutes of stretching, a brisk walk, a few push-ups, or a short workout can completely change how you feel and think. The key is to build the habit of movement. Once you make it a non-negotiable part of your morning, it becomes a signal to your brain that it is time to wake up, focus, and perform. Over time, this habit strengthens not just your body, but your discipline. And discipline, more than talent or luck, is what separates successful people from those who never reach their potential. Your body is your first tool for success. It is the vehicle that carries you through every task, every opportunity, and every challenge. If you treat it with neglect, it will eventually fail you. a huge. But if you strengthen it daily, it will give you the energy and endurance to keep moving forward when others quit. That is why successful people start their mornings by moving their bodies, because they know that success is not just about having the right mindset, but also about having the physical capacity to act on that mindset. When you rise and move, you are not just preparing for the day. You are declaring that you are ready to show up for your purpose, ready to fight for your future, and ready to live with the energy required to win. Success is never accidental. It is the product of intentional actions taken consistently over time. A huge. People who achieve great things do not stumble into productivity or reach their goals by chance. They are deliberate about how they spend their time, and that deliberate approach begins every morning. Planning your day is not just about writing a list of tasks. It is about creating structure for your time and ensuring that what you do aligns with your bigger purpose. When you wake up without a plan, you immediately become reactive. You spend your day responding to other people's demands, distractions, and emergencies. But when you start your morning by designing your day, you take control of your time, your focus, and ultimately your future. When you plan your day with intentionality, you are telling yourself that your time is valuable, that your energy is precious, huge, and that your goals matter enough to be prioritized. Too often, people live on autopilot, simply going through the motions, letting the hours slip by without making meaningful progress. But every day is an opportunity that will never return again. Successful people understand this, and that is why they refuse to leave their day to chance. They wake up and decide what truly matters most, making sure their actions align with their vision. They know that if they don't control their time, someone else will. Huge intentional planning also creates clarity. Many people feel overwhelmed not because they have too much to do, but because they have not defined what truly needs to be done. When you take a few minutes in the morning to prioritize your top tasks, you reduce anxiety and increase focus. A clear plan silences confusion and replaces it with confidence. You no longer waste energy wondering what to do next. Instead, you execute with purpose. Even if unexpected events arise, you can adapt without losing sight of what really matters because you have already set a direction for your day. Planning your day also prevents you from being busy without being productive. There is a big difference between activity and progress. You can spend the whole day working hard, but still feel like you accomplished nothing if your time was spent on unimportant tasks. Successful people don't just fill their schedules, they focus on what brings the highest return on their time and energy. They ask themselves, what can I do today that will bring me closer to my goals? What tasks will create the most impact? This kind of thinking separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck in cycles of business. George, another benefit of morning planning is that it gives you a sense of control over your life. Life is unpredictable and challenges will always come, but having a plan creates stability. Even if you don't follow the plan perfectly, simply having a structure keeps you anchored. It prevents procrastination because you know what needs to be done and when to do it. Each time you complete something you planned, you build momentum which fuels motivation to keep going. Small wins stack up, and before you realize it, you've accomplished far more than you thought possible. Planning also cultivates discipline. Every time you write down your tasks and follow through, you strengthen your ability to do what you said you would do. Discipline is the bridge between intentions and results. And intentional planning is one of the best ways to build that bridge. Over time, this practice becomes a habit that transforms your life. You stop drifting through your days and start directing them. You become proactive instead of reactive, focused instead of distracted, productive instead of busy. It's important to understand that planning doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need elaborate systems or hours of preparation. Even 5 to 10 minutes of intentional planning in the morning can completely shift how your day unfolds. Write down your top 3 priorities. Block time for deep work or important tasks. Schedule breaks to recharge your mind. These small actions create a sense of order that allows you to approach the day with confidence and purpose. Every successful person, from entrepreneurs to leaders to innovators, uses intentional planning as a secret weapon. They know that each day is a chance to make progress, and they refuse to waste it. When you take control of your day, you take control of your life. You stop living as if time is endless and start treating it as the priceless resource it is. Planning your day each morning is a powerful declaration that you are serious about your goals, that you respect your time, and that you are committed to becoming the best version of yourself. It is not just a habit. It is a mindset that says, my future is worth the effort, and I will design my life instead of letting life design me. The first few hours of the day are some of the most powerful moments you will ever have. Yet many people waste them on tasks that do not move their life forward. Successful people understand that the way you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. That is why they focus their mornings on the most important task. The one thing that, if accomplished, will have the greatest impact on their goals and future. This is not just about being busy. It is about being productive in a way that truly matters. Tackling your biggest priority first gives you an early sense of accomplishment and creates momentum that carries you through the rest of the day. When you wake up and immediately address your highest priority, you are using your peak energy and focus on what matters most. In the morning, your willpower is at its strongest, your mind is at its sharpest, and your distractions are at their lowest. If you waste that precious time on small, meaningless tasks, you weaken your ability to handle the bigger challenges later. But if you choose to focus on the task that truly moves the needle, whether it's a project, a decision, or a goal, you take advantage of the most powerful hours of the day. That early victory creates confidence and drive, which makes everything else feel easier to accomplish. Too often people procrastinate on the things that matter because they seem hard, uncomfortable, or overwhelming. Instead, they fill their mornings with busy work, checking emails, scrolling through their phones, or handling tasks that could wait. But the longer you delay doing what really matters, the more resistance builds up in your mind. The key is to do it first, before excuses have the chance to stop you. When you start your day by conquering something meaningful, you train your brain to associate mornings with achievement. Over time, this habit builds mental strength and teaches you to push through discomfort rather than avoid it. Taking action on your biggest priority first also sets the stage for consistency. Success is not built on rare bursts of inspiration. It is built on small, intentional actions taken day after day. When you make it a rule to handle your most important task every morning, you guarantee daily progress toward your goals. Even if the rest of the day gets chaotic, you can still look back and know that you made meaningful progress. This consistency compounds over time, and what once felt like small daily wins eventually turns into massive results. It is also important to understand that not all tasks are created equal. Some tasks drain your time but do little for your growth. Others may take the same amount of time but bring you closer to your dreams. Successful people learn to identify their most impactful work and prioritize it. They ask themselves, if I could only accomplish one thing today, what would make the biggest difference? That single question helps them focus on the tasks that truly create value rather than the ones that just keep them busy. Taking on your biggest priority in the morning also builds discipline. It teaches you to do what needs to be done instead of what is easiest to do. Each time you complete something meaningful early in the day, you strengthen your self-control and confidence. You prove to yourself that you are capable of taking action even when it feels uncomfortable. That confidence will not only help you in your career or business, but in every area of life. Because discipline is the foundation of freedom. The more control you have over your actions, the more control you have over your future. When you win the morning, you win the day. Accomplishing something significant before most people have even started their day gives you an undeniable advantage. It creates momentum, builds belief, and fuels motivation to keep going. The feeling of progress becomes addictive. Instead of ending your day frustrated about everything you didn't do, you can finish with the satisfaction of knowing that you handled the most important thing first. Every day presents a choice. You can spend your mornings reacting to life, or you can use them to create the life you desire. Successful people choose to create. They choose to direct their focus and energy toward what matters most. They understand that the difference between mediocrity and excellence is not found in one big decision, but in a series of small, intentional actions. And the habit of tackling your most important priority first is one of the most powerful actions you can take. It is a declaration that you value your goals, your time, and your future. It is a commitment to living on purpose, not by accident. When you make this your daily practice, you will find that success is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you attract through disciplined, intentional living. Success is never the result of luck, chance, or wishful thinking. It is built through consistent habits, small decisions made day after day, and a commitment to living with purpose. The way you start your morning determines the direction of your entire life. When you choose gratitude and prayer, you align your heart with purpose. When you feed your mind with wisdom, you prepare yourself for growth. When you move your body, you create the energy you need to perform. When you plan your day with intention, you take control of your time instead of letting life control you. When you tackle your biggest priority first, you build momentum and confidence that fuels every other decision. And when you protect your mornings from distractions, you safeguard the most valuable part of your day. These habits may seem simple, but their power lies in consistency. Each day you practice them, you build discipline. Each day you show up for yourself, you strengthen your belief that you can achieve more. Over time, these small, intentional actions compound to create a life of success, fulfillment, and impact. Your mornings are the foundation of your future, and how you use them will decide where you end up. If you want to live a life of purpose and achievement, it starts with what you do when you first open your eyes. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for motivation to find you. Take control of your mornings, and you will take control of your destiny.